India-Canada bilateral relations saw a significant strain in the recent years, triggered by former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's baseless allegations against India and its role in the 2023 assassination of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. What followed was a diplomatic fallout, marked by reciprocal expulsions of diplomats, suspension of visa services, and a pause in trade negotiations. That seems to be changing. Canada's Foreign Minister Anita Anand is in India to help move the two countries towards establishing a framework for strategic cooperation on multiple issues, on trade diversification, on energy transformation, and on security. But there's more. Anita Anand's visit can be a reset button that moves Canada-India relations from a period of diplomatic coolness to one of constructive partnership, politically, economically, and of course strategically.
Minister, let me also say that both sides for our meeting today have prepared an ambitious roadmap to advance our cooperation in various domains, including trade, investment, agriculture, science and technology, civil nuclear collaboration, AI, critical minerals, and energy.
After a bitter two-year diplomatic standoff between the two countries, they have now adopted a measured and incremental approach to resetting this relationship. India welcomed a change in leadership in Canada. It engaged with the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the G7 summit in Alberta in June this year. Both leaders announced constructive action towards collaboration in critical areas and reappointment of high commissioners who had been withdrawn as tensions rose back in 2024. Today, Anita Anand called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the national capital after meeting with S. Shankar and highlighted that very progress that the two leaders, Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Mark Carney, had achieved in June. That sentiment was echoed by Prime Minister Modi on social media as well.
Prime Minister Carney was pleased to welcome Prime Minister Modi to the G7 summit in Kananaskis, where they had a productive bilateral engagement, which very much informs the conversation that we are having here today. I want to suggest that the cooperation that we have seen from your side and certainly very welcome. And today we'll be discussing the India-Canada joint statement, which is comprehensive and covers a number of issues that will allow us to continue the work to elevate the bilateral relationship.
After the G7, India felt encouraged and vindicated when Canada's Domestic and Foreign Intelligence Agency, CSIS, released its annual report acknowledging for the very first time that since the mid-1980s, the politically motivated violent extremism threat in Canada had manifested primarily through Canadian-based Khalistani elements seeking to support and use violent means to create an independent nation in India. Canada also arrested individuals that were linked to pro-Khalistani groups for firearms for several other charges. Days after Canada's National Security Advisor visited India and held extensive talks with Ajit Doval, Canada designated Lawrence Bishnori's gang as a terrorist entity. A significant move because it gives authorities in Canada now more power to seize assets and to take legal measures. So what does this mean going forward? Canada may impose more legal constraints, enhance monitoring, or stronger enforcement on groups or individuals that are found to be crossing from advocacy into extremists of violent activity against India. India, of course, will continue pushing for extraditions, designations of specific organizations or individuals, and formal acknowledgement of the scale of the threat. Diplomatically, Canadian actions on this front may help ease tensions with India, particularly regarding accusations of India acting unlawfully or Canada, on the other hand, being lax. But full resolution will require sustained cooperation and transparency on both sides. Now, India has long urged Canada not to give political space to extremist pro-Khalistani elements. A first step may have been taken in that direction, but a lot more needs to be done. New Delhi has time and again requested for extradition or provisional arrest of individuals that are wanted for alleged terrorism, for murder, for violent activity that are linked to this pro-Khalistani movement, many of which are still pending. Now, despite the ups and downs, Canada and India share over 75 years of diplomatic relations. Given the significant Indian diaspora in Canada, the country's largest non-European ethnic group, people-to-people links remain at the core of relations between the two countries. In fact, in 2024, speaking of trade, India was Canada's 7th largest goods and services trading partner, with two-way trade coming up to $30.9 billion, while more than 600 Canadian firms currently operate in India. Both India and Canada are incentivized by the transformed geopolitical environment and Donald Trump's tariffs to look beyond the United States to build trade relationships. India, remember, was the first country to start trade negotiations with the United States and to voluntarily reduce its own tariffs as a goodwill gesture. But what happened? India ended up facing 50% American tariffs, which is why New Delhi is pivoting back to a multi-alignment foreign policy with diverse actors, maintaining its strategic autonomy and furthering its engagement with many countries. Trade negotiations between India and Canada seem to finally be getting back on track as well after they broke off in 2023. Now, neither Canada nor India were in a hurry to fix everything in this broken relationship over the last 2 years, but a measured approach is being taken by both sides now. Some essential first steps have been taken, but a legacy of mutual distrust needs to be overcome. Anita Anand's India visit not only highlights how far relations have come between the two countries, but also how fragile the progress remains.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.